Half-Life Alyx is the most important and still, in my opinion, the greatest VR game that has ever been created. Today, we're going to get into the detail of exactly why that is.
Combine cheddar's really picking up. They know you're coming. You need to get out of here, now.
Valve have an incredible reputation for releasing critically acclaimed, well-received products. Their canon of titles includes names like Counter-Strike, Dota, Left 4 Dead, Portal, and of course, Half-Life 1 and 2 that completely revolutionised the FPS genre. Alongside software like the Steam Store and hardware like the Steam Link, the Steam Deck, and of course the Valve Index VR headset that released very close to the timing of Half-Life Alyx and was likely the reason why they needed to create such a great VR game. Because they knew they needed a game that would sell VR headsets and win people over to a new medium of gaming. Half-Life Alyx continued this legacy gloriously by bringing us VR's first AAA title. So how do they continually achieve these feats? Well, Valve have a very maverick approach to business. The team members choose whichever project interests them the most and that's what they work on. They can change their mind at any point. And no one has a boss. For a long time it was said that no one had ever been sacked from Valve. That's really weird, and you might think it would create a kind of sense of mayhem in the workplace. But it really doesn't seem to do that. What it does seem to do is mean that projects are led by passion, not deadlines. They are about as far from the rolling year-on-year game releases of companies like Activision or Ubisoft as you could possibly ever get. And thank God for that, because the quality is miles ahead. But it can mean some amazing things never come to fruition and projects can have a very lengthy lead time. Half-Life 2 was released in 2004 and it took through to 2020 until we got the next series in the canon, and it wasn't even Half-Life 3, it was a special midpoint between the two games. So what exactly is it that makes this game so freaking good? The first reason, depth of story. VR games have a reputation for lacking depth. Often, the focus is on a few specific areas of the game, such as the visuals or the mechanics, and you don't really get a rounded experience. Elements like the story or the believability of the characters can be moved aside because they need to focus on certain things that they deem vital to the delivery of a great VR game. Alyx takes that trend and throws it off the balcony. The game takes place somewhere between Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2, and it benefits from leaning on some pre-created lore. They don't need to spend time telling you the backstory because they're giving you an IP that loads of people already know so much about. That being said, if you know nothing of Half-Life, don't let that put you off. This game absolutely stands up on its own. By not worrying about telling you the full backstory, they can focus on adding depth to this one specific story. The story is, we are 5 years before Half-Life 2. The Combine are in full rule over City 17. We find ourselves in the floating hands of Alyx Vance, daughter of Eli Vance. Eli Vance was a lead scientist at Black Mesa. He bore witness to the failed experiment that led to an interdimensional portal opening and flooding our world with alien beings. Eli would go on to be a key character in Half-Life 2 before meeting a cruel and torturous death at the wrong end of an alien tentacle, a death that was borne witness by his daughter Alyx. Half-Life Alyx brings us 5 years before that death. The Combine have just captured Eli Vance. They are due to transfer him to the high security location Nova Prospect, where he will be likely tortured and killed. Now of course, Alyx doesn't want that to happen and it's our job to stop it. Now we absolutely need to talk about the incredible acting and humour in this game. The game has some incredible voice acting and some humorous moments that will really tickle you, but there's one character that absolutely steals the show. Russell, your tech genius accomplice, who helps Alyx continually through her journey with chat over a communication device he gives you early on.
You're gonna need a gun! Don't worry, it's unloaded. It's unloaded now!
Now he's portrayed by Rhys Darby. You'll know him from his incredible portrayal of Murray, the manager in Flight of the Conchords. Now Darby is absolutely amazing in Half-Life Alyx.
Alyx! Ah! Head crab! A head crab's on your face! Get it off your face, Alyx! Oh, it's really on there! Grab it! Hit it! Hit it, Alyx! Knock it off your face! Oh, thank God. It was on your face and it was disgusting.
His continual dark humour does a great job of calming you down after a chaotic battle scene, and it adds a brilliant extra dimension to the game. And the writers really lean into these kind of characters. They do a great job of humanising the characters that are on your side and dehumanising the evil Combine. I think one of the best ways they do this is that the Combine have all got these masks on, so you can't see their face. But all the characters that are on your side have really great facial movements, and you can really sort of look into their eyes and engage with them as a character. They can convey emotion, they can share some humour, and you really sort of buy into them as a character. As soon as the game opens, we find ourselves in this spectacular balcony scene, where we're overlooking City 17 in all its glory. Now this is one of the best game openings I've ever played, because it instantly shows off the amazing visuals you're gonna witness as you play this game. Fans of the series will quickly be shown small Easter eggs that will clearly show them they're in a game they're going to enjoy. We're going to see striders walking through the buildings. As we lean over the balcony, you'll see drones scanning the area. I challenge you to play this game for the first time and not spend ages just standing on that balcony witnessing this amazing world. But now we've been given control of Alyx, and we quickly find they have absolutely nailed the VR mechanics of this game. Up to this point, VR games had a reputation for jankiness. Many games have attempted to do things that just didn't quite feel polished. Alyx brings that polish. It has a perfect balance between simulation and arcade gameplay. Everything you see around you can be interacted with, and that is shown off in this balcony scene. They've just littered the area with things that you won't be able to resist picking up and playing with. It's really amazing how well they've nailed these VR mechanics, because everything you pick up has a perfect grip design for it. You move your hand close to an object, press to grip it, and instantly it shapes perfectly to that object. It must have taken forever to design so many different bespoke grips. So early on in this game, you're introduced to one mechanic that is going to turn the game on its head and change the future of VR gaming forever. I'm talking about the gravity gloves. Designed by your accomplice Russell, these give the user the ability to pull objects to you with the movement of your hands. It is genuinely incredible fun, and it's a mechanic that has already been copied by countless other VR games. I think it's something we're going to see forever, because the impact it has on gameplay is massive. It means you can interact with the entire environment, but you don't need to constantly bend over and pick things up off the floor. That would make the gameplay really tiring, and it would shorten your length of play. They've done something spectacular here by making it so smooth and easy. I could genuinely lose hours standing in a room pulling objects towards me like I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. In fact, it's not I could, it's I did, and I would, and I probably will again. It's just incredible fun. And I don't even care that games are copying this mechanic. I hope they continue to do so, because I think it's awesome, and I hope they take it even further. Just imagine a God of War game where you can summon Kratos' axe, and you'd have strong haptics in your controllers so you kind of feel it connect with you as you pull it back. It would be absolutely incredible. The combat itself is very, very good. Whilst not leaning too hard on the simulation side of things like many VR games do, they've again achieved that perfect balance with lots of arcade gunplay but lots of manual mechanics put in there to round out the experience. All of your weapons are controlled with your main weapon hand, leaving your second hand free to interact with the environment. You could also use it to throw grenades, use syringes to heal yourself during gunfight, or support your main shooting hand. The reloads, whilst appearing manual, do give you a decent amount of assistance that makes gunplay very smooth and consistent. Even if you slightly miss the entry point of your magazine into your gun, it will just lock into place. Compare that to the more hardcore-like simulations in games like Pavlov, and it's a very different experience. As you progress, you're able to use collectibles to upgrade your guns, giving them additions like iron sights or laser sights, and really taking them up a gear. That does a great job of addressing the difficulty curve as they throw more and more difficult enemies at you. Combine that with the fact that you also find new exciting weapons as you go along, it really keeps the combat feeling exciting as the game progresses. That being said, even with you finding these new exciting weapons, your pistol remains continually valuable throughout the game, and you rely on it right through to the end. The combat is challenging but not overly difficult. I find it rewards you for slowing down and taking the calculated shot rather than firing off continual bullets like a madman. And often you'll be given the choice of not even engaging. The game is littered with these things called barnacles that hang down from the ceiling, and if you get caught by their tentacles you'll be pulled up to the ceiling and killed. Now you can choose to either shoot the barnacle directly and kill it, or you can try and avoid the tentacle. Here they cleverly reward you with a dropped magazine for your pistol when you shoot those barnacles, just frequently enough to make it worth doing, but infrequently enough to make you constantly question whether or not you really should be shooting them or just saving your bullets. The game is packed full with puzzles, and they do get harder as the game progresses. In fact, the early few puzzles are really easy and you can't really go wrong. But as you get towards the end, they can be incredibly frustrating and can take many attempts to get past. The Half-Life series is kind of renowned for its use of physics. That was particularly brought to light in Half-Life 2 when the game really used it as a focus to make really exciting puzzles in your environment in which you relied on using quirky physics to solve them. This tradition is continued in Alyx, and the VR mechanics make for some really interesting puzzles. Now if I'm honest, I often find games that tout their incredible physics can be incredibly frustrating to play. Don't shoot me, but Boneworks, I'm kinda looking at you. The attempted replications of real life physics can be a bit awkward to play. Your body often ends up clashing with the environment and reacting in ways that you think, is that really realistic? Now Alyx manages to completely avoid that. And the game rewards creativity. If you try and think outside the box, you'll be really impressed with the kind of things you can pull off. The environment feels alive. Early on in the game, you'll see these sort of bustling streets with the Combine piling in, and you can feel the terror in the people in the city. Not only does the environment feel alive, but in many cases, the environment is alive. As we get into the quarantine zone, things get really weird. The world has been polluted by these evil powers, and everything has this kind of creepy feel to it. The game itself is a good length of play. It will take you between 8 to 12 hours to play it from start to end. Now VR games at this point were famous for being quite short and often feeling like more of a tech demo than a full game. Now I think one of the great ways that Alyx stretches out his gameplay is that they make you continually search every environment you go into. They encourage this early on by making you find things you're really going to rely on as soon as you start looking. That fosters inside of you a need to search every nook and cranny, something that will continue with you right through to the end of the game. You'll need to do this to survive because you'll be short on ammo, and ammo will be found in some ridiculous places. You'll also find resin that will be used to upgrade your weapons, and it means you're constantly searching. The benefit of that is that it means you're never just going to run through a scene and move on to the next one. Every room is going to be turned over from top to toe. And when you finish those 8 to 12 glorious hours, are you finished? Absolutely not. Valve, as a company, have always championed open platforms, and this has led to some truly incredible modding. For an example outside of Alyx, just look to the incredible Garry's Mod. Published by Valve as a sandbox modification for the base game engine of Half-Life 2, Garry's Mod turned the gaming scene on its head. It helped bring us incredible user-created content such as Prop Hunt and Trouble in Terrorist Town. I used to lose countless hours in Garry's Mod, and I'm not the only one. Alyx continues this trend with an incredible mod workshop that brings us some of the best mods I've seen for any game in existence. In fact, I often argue that the Alyx Mod Workshop is one of the best games libraries for VR on the market, and it's completely free. It's ridiculous. Some of my favourites include Gunman Contracts, City 17 Escape, and the Bioshock themed Return to Rapture. You've got to check them out if you haven't, it's truly incredible. One of my most viewed videos is a compilation of my favourite Alyx mods. I really recommend you check it out because there's so much more to this game than meets the eye. So that, in my opinion, kind of summarises why this game is so incredible. Thank you so much to Valve for bringing us what I truly consider to be a masterpiece of modern gaming. But please don't leave it 16 years for the next one. So, if you found this video useful, please do me a favour and help me appease the YouTube gods by pressing that like button. And if you'd like to see any content like this in the future, then a sub to the channel would be absolutely amazing. I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.